just the way that God is really faithful to answer prayers when I can't see where He'll make things better or enjoyable. So I think just being all in for Him, He's just given me love for our town. My name is Mikayla Long. I am 24 years old and I live in Roxborough, North Carolina. It's very small in the way that people are really small-minded, and it's not very culturally diverse, which I have a hard time with sometimes. I had spent a couple years living as a residential student on a college campus and going to school full-time, and then came home. So at this time I was working a lot and still trying to figure out like my next steps for school. And I was in India on a trip that I wasn't really expecting to go on. Before I left to go to India, I was having a conversation with my pastor. He's also the executive director of a ministry here in our hometown called My Life Matters, one that I had volunteered with for several years. And I was telling him about all my options, and I mentioned to him I wanted to work in a church in Texas, and he just looked at me and said, "Why would you need to go to Texas when that's what we're doing here?" And I just said, "Well, you've never offered me a job." And he said, "Okay, do you want a job?" And I said, I don't think so, because I really didn't want to live here. When we were in India, we spent a lot of time listening to people tell their stories. Like, that's what we did the entire trip. Was we sat outside, we sat in people's houses, we sat on the side of the road, and we just listened to pastors and families and teachers and preachers share their stories of how they came to do what they were doing. In that moment, God really painted this very, very clear picture to me, almost as if I just saw it in my head. And it was of me walking into Tim's office and saying, "Okay, like, I'll do it. I'm all in. I'm all in for whatever it looks like to be committed to sharing the gospel here in my hometown." Through that entire trip, I just realized that God was burdening my heart for His people in the United States, but most specifically in our town.